Hello and welcome to Rule of Three's video review for Killer is Dead, a third-person action adventure game from Grasshopper Studios. I'm Manan, and I'll be the one doing the review for this. So, the story of Killer is Dead is you play Mundo, a mysterious killer that works for a killing organization run by the government that basically is charged with taking out the underbelly and evil people of the world in secret so that they, pay for their crimes and stuff. Mundo himself, you don't know a whole lot about. He just kind of shows up and, just wants to kill things to kind of protect society without being a part of it. It's weird. It's very... If you've played any of the other Suda51 games like No More Heroes or Killer 7, it has that very kind of same philosophical undertone throughout the entire game that I don't quite get, but like playing his games anyway. But the story on the whole it's decent. Some of it was very, obvious, and I saw it coming miles away because it's just typical. Mundo is kind of flat. I don't know if it's the voice acting for him, but towards the end of the game and the second and third acts kind of pick up a little bit versus the first act, which is nice because you do find out a little bit more about Mundo and his assistant, as well as some of the other members of the Brian Execution firm, which is the group that does all this. So on the whole, it's decent. It got me through, but it's not. I don't think it's quite as good as like Killer 7 or No More Heroes. So going on, the gameplay mechanics are very simple. It's a very standard action-oriented game. You have a normal attack, which you just slash. The higher your combo, the faster your attack speed, as well as it allows you to do finishing moves that net you more gems, which I'll talk about in a moment. He also has a kind of a charged attack, which allows him to do kind of a spin to hit everything around you, which I don't ever use. It's very slow, unless I'm in his final combo level. Then it's a little bit more useful, but it's still kind of slow. He also has a block, dodge, and counter, which all are the same button. So you can either just block an enemy, which is just, he holds up the sword, and you block him. It is very standard. You don't take any damage, and you just stand there. Counter is if you push the block button at the right time, he will actually counter the enemy and do a little bit of damage. Or you do what I do, which is if you wait till the very last minute to use the dodge mechanic, he will go into kind of a hyper overactive drive and just start hacking at them like no tomorrow. It does a ton of damage, and it's really cool to watch. Those mechanics work fairly well. It took me a little bit to get the dodge mechanic down, which is good, because it is fairly difficult to do, at least the hyper dodge. But doing these simple, just basic counters is actually fairly easy. And it's important to keep that combo going because, like I said, he starts off attacking very slow, and then as the combo builds up, he starts going a lot faster. And once you get to his full speed, and he does a lot of damage, and the game actually goes by quite fast. But until you hit that, his attack speed is ridiculously slow, and it kind of throws you off in the beginning because it encourages you to build that combo so you can keep that very fast gameplay going versus the sluggish one I had to deal with because I'm terrible at this game. So the next thing that I want to go into are Blood Rage. So Blood Rage is like the dodge mechanic. It basically puts you into a state of I'm attacking you at really, really high speeds, and it usually one-shots most enemies, at least the smaller ones. Later ones, you need to use it in order to actually cut off their heads and finish them off. In order to do it, you have to have a certain amount of blood saved up, and they have to be kind of open to the attack, because like I said, the weaker ones you can just do it and they die. However, some of the armored ones, they will block it, so you gotta be careful, because if they do block it, it leaves you open for an attack. That mechanic is fun, it works, and I kind of did like trying to do the finish. Just the animations were kind of fun for that one. The next thing is his cybernetic arm. He does not have a real arm, it is actually a cyborg arm that he has no idea how he got. It's part of the story. But anyway, it is basically a gun that shoots bullets made of blood. You can also turn it into a drill, ice shooter, and as well as a giant cannon. And it runs off blood. If you don't have any blood, it won't shoot. Well, it will. The gun will shoot, but very, very slow and doing no damage. The drill won't work, but the other ones will work. The drill, the super cannon, and the slow beam shooter thing, that also won't work. Some enemies you do have to use the gun on. The drill is very useful for getting rid of like armored enemies' armor, obviously. And then the slow one was useful later because there are some very fast moving enemies, and the super cannon is just fun. That just blows things up. Also, headshots are one shot. If you manage to get a headshot, it's a one-shot kill, which was kind of cool that they did that. Especially for ranged enemies, I always try to go for headshots versus melee because it is very difficult. Because it's not 100% accurate. If you aim at him and shoot, it will usually hit, but it's not a guaranteed one-shot headshot because it has to hit him dead on. So you have to be very careful where you aim. And I like the arm. It was a nice mixture into the kind of melee combat. It gave you a little bit of variety. It doesn't add to your combo, but it does keep it still at that same number that you're at. I think it adds 1 and that's it. So if you like have an enemy far away, you can like build up a combo, shoot one, and start shooting them while you get in close, and then continue the combo. So it was very nice, and like I said, the drill is very useful for getting rid of certain other enemies. I didn't really use the slow beam, and the super cannon I just had fun with. So next is upgrades. So in this game, as you kill enemies, and like I said, the executioners let you upgrade things. There's points, what's like cash, which you use to spend on like upgrades to increase certain attacks, unlock new attacks, increase health regeneration, and stuff like that. Those are yellow gems that you pick up and you spend it on at the gift shop or the upgrade shop, and that's that. There's also health and blood points. As you collect these gems, it just accumulates, and then once the little EXP bar around those ones fills up, you gain a new like health gem or part of the health gem, or a new blood gem or part of one, and it just adds up until obviously you hit the maximum. The upgrade system is actually very fun. It allows you, at least the execution system, it allows you to kind of pick which one you want to focus on. I focused on more of getting the combat upgrades versus health and blood, because I tended to get those a little quicker from enemies that I killed versus the actual money. So I just focused on that, and my health and blood were fine throughout the game. I only had to take those a couple of times if I had them open, just because certain bosses are a pain in the rear. Next is, the game is all based on missions. As you complete missions, you unlock side missions and gigolo missions, which I'll explain here in a second. They're basically all the same. It's just like, go to this place in this certain, you're like, have a time limit, do this in this time. They're fun, but once again, it's very repetitive, and that's kind of an overall theme of this game. It's very repetitive. Gigolo missions, on the other hand, are a little different. These involve you pretty much going out with a girl and oogling her without her noticing so that you can sleep with her. If you do this, you gain, like, this is how you get the drill armor and some of the other attacks as well as some other things. They're okay, kind of boring, just because it's very repetitive. You have to give the girls gifts as well that you buy from the gift shops in order for them to, you know, want to sleep with you. So, yeah, it was okay. So that's it for Killer is Dead, so I'll give it the verdict. So here at Rule of 3, we did not use a rating system. Instead, we use a buy, rent, pass system. A buy means I think it's worth the full price of the game on release. It's just fun, enjoyable, has enough replay value, or whatever. I just think it's worth the money, and that you should go buy it. A rent is, you know, the game was okay. I wouldn't recommend buying it right away. It's, you know, it's fun. Rent it from GameFly or Redbox or whatever you have that near you that allows you to rent the game, or buy it used, or, you know, wait for it to go on sale. Something along those lines. Pass means that it needs to, you know, die. It needs to be killed and dead and never be seen again. Killer is Dead is, I gave it a rent. It wasn't quite as good as I had hoped from a Suda51 game, because I do love No More Heroes and Killer 7. It is fun. It's very repetitive. Some of the, like, the attacking mechanic, like I said, it felt sluggish if you didn't have the combo built up, so it's very combo heavy. Some enemies are just kind of a pain to deal with. The arm, changing the arm, the button kind of was weird. The Gigolo missions I didn't really care for. I didn't even bother with the side missions just because it was the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again. Some of them, like the Scarlet side missions, were okay, but it's just, eh. And once again, the story was also, you know, it was interesting. Mid-game, it got a lot more interesting versus the opening where it was just kind of like, why? So it did pick up, but on the whole, you know, it's a good game, but it's not one I would rush out to buy. So that's it for this review. Thanks for listening, everybody. Make sure to subscribe up top for the latest videos. as well as liking us Facebook, Twitter. Check out ruler3.com for some of our other reviews and announcements and stuff. Make sure to leave a comment below for the Grand Theft Auto review or giveaway that we're doing. And that's it. So thanks for listening, everybody, and always remember to trust in the rule of 3.